Hi, and welcome to Talking Spartans, as we like to call it. I'm Graham Couch of the Lansing State Journal, alongside my Free Press colleagues Chris Solari and Sean Windsor, after Michigan State's 34-10 loss here at the Horseshoe against Ohio State, and a score which is about what a lot of us saw the game looking like, and you see the disparity and difference in talent a little bit. But Michigan State, they hung in there, and I think they thought they had legitimate hope for a while. And if they had played perfectly, it would have been interesting, because maybe then it would have tested something besides the speed and skill in Ohio State, but they didn't. And then the speed and skill of Ohio State.
Well, and that's the thing, is when you see the speed and skill go in short, quick bursts like that, I mean, what can you do to stop it? I mean, you've got to. And Mark D'Antonio's talked about this all week. You had to play perfect football to do it. You cough the ball up twice in your first four possessions, or your first four plays, really. Your defense is left out there along stretches early and starts to wear down. The offensive line gets kind of pushed around at times, but then also has its own moments. So I mean, you know, there were certainly some things to take away from this game, but the biggest takeaway was that Ohio State team is really good and really talented.
And really fast. You know, the score. The strange thing about this game is that the score, it could have been worse. On the one hand, so it didn't feel like they were in the game.
And we need to speak up. We're probably further from the camera than we should be.
Okay, from the middle of the second quarter on, it felt over.
Yeah.
It also felt like they had a chance. It was kind of tricky to figure out. Raekwon Williams, the defensive tackle with the Spartans, was talking to us afterwards, and he said, "Look, they didn't manhandle us and sort of nickel and dime us and just out physical us down the field, which they didn't. But the psychological effect of all that speed and skill is one little crease, one little seam, and they're gone. They can take it to the house on any given play."
Joe Bocci talked about the first time he screwed up that particular run fit, he thought ever, and it bit them on a long drive. Everybody else was in their gap, but he wasn't.
Right, if Ohio State makes a mistake, Michigan State's picking up 15 yards.
Yeah.
Michigan State makes a mistake, and it's 60 yards, they're gone.
That's
and
stronger, bigger, faster.
The pressure of that is, it just starts to wear you out.
Yeah. And the reality is, you're going to read a lot of quotes from Michigan State about, as you were talking about, you know, we beat ourselves. No, and that's, you know, I've covered games like this, and I had a coach once tell me, look, it's very hard for athletes to admit somebody's bigger, faster, stronger, so they use words like, we need to be more intense, or we need to do this, or we beat ourselves.
Focus.
Or we need to look at the film.
Yeah.
Which may be true to some degree, right? And they did make some mistakes.
Oh, sure.
Big mistakes. I mean, there were missed tackles. That's one thing I think, you know, when you talk about missed tackles, some of it is on the players trying to make the tackles, and some of it on the players. I mean, you watch that touchdown pass to Fuller. You know, you've got three Michigan State players who are really sure tacklers, and Josiah Scott, Joe Bocci, and Tyreek Thompson, all not being able to bring this guy down, and he carries them in for the last 5 to 10 yards.
Well, as you and I talked earlier, Graham, about punching the ball out and some desperation plays instead of making the tackle. But look,
that's a natural human reaction too. You're trying to do something because you know what you're up against.
Exactly, you're desperate a little bit. But let's also be honest here. Not only did they wear down, they got tired, and D'Antonio talked about that after the game. A couple of players did too. By the end of the second quarter, it wasn't just the explosive plays. J.K. Dobbins was getting the ball, and the offensive line was already 3 yards up the field. And all of a sudden, it was 5-6 yards right up the middle.
That's the cumulative effect of the two early turnovers, where the defense comes out and they're great for a little bit, and they needed those sort of things just kill you in a situation like this. But I do think if you avoid a little of that, and you know, Brian Lewerke had that pass, he was a little bit shieldy, overturned Cody White. You make that touchdown and get it 17-14. And you could, because there was a couple moments where you could feel a little uneasiness here.
You could.
And if you can get uneasiness in a place, the players feel, and then if Ohio State makes a mistake and does make that big error, then you don't know. Because then again, what Michigan State needed to do today and couldn't quite get to this point, they needed to test Ohio State in ways that weren't physical. And to do that, they were going to have to play perfect and be competitive long enough to do it, and they weren't.
Yeah, and I thought they did in the first quarter, but once it started rolling, it was tough to get away from that.
Yeah.
No, for sure. They just, look, it kind of went how we thought it was going to go in a way. I still think Michigan State can have a good season. They didn't get the 9-10 wins. I think they're a good team. They could be a pretty good team, a really good team. Maybe by the end of the year.
They could still be a New Year's Six team if they have the right kind of season.
They could. Ohio State's just really talented.
And what's hard if you're Michigan State is you had this run, this 36-5 run, and you were, for a minute, playing toe-to-toe. It's really hard to psychologically go back and accept being Wisconsin and Iowa again. And that's who they've always
Iowa probably
been.
more
Iowa,
than Wisconsin.
right.
It's kind of the Mark Richt Georgia factor.
Although, yes, right. But I do have a
9 to 10 wins. When he took that program over, it felt great at that point. But A couple years on, you start to say 9 or 10 wins, because you've reached that line.
Yeah, right. And look, there's lots of dynamics. The college football playoff has created this dynamic where there are 4 teams that feel good and everybody else feels like crap,
Right.
and that's really not fair. So, but we'll find out next week a lot about this team, right?
We will.
Next 2 games, a couple weeks later.
You know, next week is actually kind of the season in a lot of ways.
And
It really is.
I think they've got a really good shot against
I do
Wisconsin.
too.
I think the matchup is something that is in their favor in terms of styles. Well, complete coverage at freep.com, at lsj.com, greenandwhite.com. Thanks for watching.